Warnicki. I'm a student in Education 362. This is me recording my lesson for the class. My unit is War of the Revolutionary War, and this lesson is focusing on the events leading up to the Revolutionary War. This is the first lesson in the unit, so I'm getting background information on what the students know, and we'll begin the unit from there. So we'll begin starting now. Hello everybody. I just have a quick question for you as we start. If you walked into the room and I told you that you had to give me your pen and pencil before you could sit down, just because I was in charge and I needed a pen or pencil, do you think that would be fair?
No.
No. And why wouldn't that be very fair?
Because you're taking my pencil.
That's right. So, if I was taking all of your pens and pencils and you couldn't come to class with anything to write with, would you fight for that right to have your pen or pencil with you?
Yeah.
Okay. So this might be how the colonists were feeling when Britain was taxing them during before the Revolutionary War. So right now I want to see how much information you know about the Revolutionary War. So we're going to do a bubble map. So the topic here is the Revolutionary War, and I want you guys to just blurt out anything that you know about the Revolutionary War. When you think about that, what comes to mind, if anything? Maybe you don't know anything about the war, and that's fine too. We'll learn about that today. So, what do you know about it?
Freedom.
Great. And what about freedom?
The colonists were fighting for their freedom.
Very good. All right. What else?
Taxes, I think, were involved. I think Britain was taxing the colonists unfairly.
All right. Anything else?
The Boston Tea Party.
Mm-hmm. And we'll go deeper into all of this later. I'm just seeing what all you guys know about it right now. So anything else?
The Redcoats.
And what were the Redcoats?
Those were the coats that the British Army wore.
Very good. All right. Anything else?
And obviously the colonies were a big thing.
Okay, so there's an argument over the colonies. Great. All right. And we'll stop there for now. So we have our bubble map, and this is all the information that the class knows so far about the Revolutionary War. We're going to dig deeper into that, into the unit, and focus on the events leading up to it today. So right now I'm going to show a video to you guys that just gives you a brief explanation of the events that led up to the Revolutionary War and just covers it all very briefly. And in the next few days we'll cover the information more in depth. So at this time I would pull up the video, which on my lesson plan that is attached to this, I have the link to it. It's less than 3 minutes, so it doesn't take up very much class time, and it's fun and keeps the students engaged. After the students have finished watching this video, also in my lesson plan I have a link to the information where I would get the handout, but I would pass out a handout with the information that they needed to read, covering the same things that were covered in the video, but a little bit more in depth. Not very much more, but just a little bit. I would have the students read this and take the next 15 minutes just to read it and underline anything that they thought was interesting or that they learned. Then as soon as they got done on the board, I will draw this. So the students, this is exactly what I want you to do. I need you to take out a piece of loose leaf paper, and at the top you need to write things I learned in number 1 through 6. All right? And then halfway down the paper, can you draw a line straight across, and then at the top of that half, write what I want to know in number 1 and 2. So we'll take time for you guys to do that real quick.
Okay.
All right. Now, I'm going to separate you all into groups of 3 because you're going to work in groups right now. So everybody move your desks together And great. Now I have it numbered 1 through 6 on things that I learned. I'm hoping that everybody will contribute at least 2 things in each group, something that they learned, either watching the video or reading the information that I gave you in the packet that you have. So you can pick 1 thing from the video and 1 thing from the packet, or you can pick 2 things from the video or 2 things from the packet. But I want you guys all to work together and come up with 6 different things that you learned. 6 different things. And write it down. I would like everybody to have their own sheet of paper because for homework we will be using this bottom half. So everybody, I would like you to start working and come up with the 6 different things that you learned either from the video or the reading. As the students do this, I would walk around and make sure that they were on the right track, make sure that all of their information was accurate, and that they would be able to answer some questions that I had to give them basically over any of the information that was covered. So the reading talks about the Boston Tea Party. I would ask them why that was significant, which is included in the reading. And I would also ask why the colonists were disguised during the Boston Tea Party, just so they could answer the questions and I can make sure that they're learning the information accurately. All right, so as a closer, I'm going to go around and I'm going to ask all of you students to, each group, to list all 6 of the different things that you learned. It's okay if a group before you has already said some of these things. I just want to see what each group came up with. And in theory, there would be 4 or 5 or 6 different groups that would be able to give me this information. And hopefully not all 6 in each group would be the same. So there would be numerous, probably about 10 to 15 different points that would be made. This is just a short review to end the class. And okay, so everybody, thank you for sharing. You guys did a great job. Does anybody have any questions about what you learned or read today?
Why were the colonists dressed up?
The colonists were dressed up as Indians or Native Americans as a disguise, so they wouldn't get arrested or in trouble by the British for dumping all of the tea into the Boston Harbor, which was illegal, and they would have gotten arrested and thrown in jail for doing that. So they disguised themselves as Native Americans to avoid getting in trouble.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
Did they throw the tea in the harbor because of a tax?
Yes. And in your reading, you read that there was the tea tax, and that made the colonists very angry because they were already being taxed through numerous things, such as the Stamp Act. And the tea tax was just making the colonists very angry, and they wanted to make a point. So, does anybody else have any questions? No? Okay. So for homework tonight, I would like you to bring home this sheet of paper, or we have a couple of minutes left in class that you can work on it now, so you don't have to do it for homework. But individually, I want you guys to come up with either 2 questions or 2 statements of information that you would like to know more about. So Alex asked questions about the Boston Tea Party. So maybe he wants to learn more about that, so he can write, like to know more about the Boston Tea Party and why it happened. So that would be a great one that you can start off with. And I want each of you to have 2 different points when you come into class tomorrow. And I will be collecting your papers, but before I do that, we'll discuss these points in class, and I might be able to answer some questions for you, and I'll let you know when we'll be learning that in the unit as well. So in theory, I was able to give the students a review of what they learned by having them discuss the different points that they made, and also letting them know that they will be playing a part in the curriculum by giving me more information about what they want to know about the Revolutionary War. Later lessons, I will discuss the events in more depth, and I will discuss the Revolutionary War as well. Depending on how well the students are doing, I might break those up into 2 smaller units one being the events leading up to it, and another being the Revolutionary War itself, just depending on how they're doing and how much information it's really going to cover. So, thank you.